By the way, I'm not ignoring Rob. I'm just ignoring Rob. Folks, welcome to the Random Party. I am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. With us today, with the Random Party, is the one and only Rob Conley, Mr. Bat in the Attic. We'll have an update on his Kickstarter. And with us is Don Samora, playing the role of the rest of the Random Party.
Cheers.
Cheers. So,
Welcome,
before we
everybody.
delve into this random party, just so folks know, I've gotten hit with a request for basically a retraction or correction from a one Ken Whitman. Don't know why my mother's calling me, but in any case, so I figured I would address these right now. These are statements that I made on a talking crit with Jeff Jones. I believe that's back in January. So that episode will be coming down later today. But I am retracting the following statements. I'm retracting them because I apparently misremembered because I cannot find any corroborating evidence. And believe me, didn't do a half-ass. I did look. So yes, there it is. Our retraction. So retraction number one, false statement that the film equipment that he, meaning Ken, I'm assuming, paid for with the money from the various Kickstarters was used for some adult films. Ken says this is false, that he never produced, appeared in, or been involved in any adult films. Apparently, I misremembered because my voluminous records, aside from finding some like posts on blogs, I can't find those records. So therefore, I am wrong, and I retract that. But he had his second false statement. We found some advertisements for Ken doing some private work with the film cameras. By the way, that's private work. That's not adult work. But he says false. No such advertisements exist. I never advertised or performed private work with film cameras. All right. Well, I am retracting that statement because again, I have nothing I can back it up with. Now, for everybody else playing along at home, Ken has also filed a civil suit against in Kentucky. In Kentucky, I will be responding to that early this coming week. But I figured, let me get this out. Hey, listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But there you go. So consider those retracted. That video is coming down later today. He had another request for retractions, but he didn't give me timestamps, and I could not figure out what he was trying to get me to retract. But if Ken, I know you watch these videos. If you do a follow-up, I sent you an email. If you can tell me what I need to retract, what I said was wrong, if I find that I cannot back up my words, I will retract it. Yes, say it is. Oh, dear Lord.
So, Eric, would I be safe to say that he's not going to be too happy with my video that I'm putting together right now?
I would say that your video, from my understanding, with the approval of your legal team, and listen, I actually have my history. If anybody knows my history, you do know that I have a law firm, but
he hasn't done his research.
I'm not getting my law firm involved in this one because my law firm's Madison Avenue. No,
mine. I'm lucky. Mine's a federal litigator.
Yep.
But she's my cousin. So
yes. Listen, I had a very long legal battle with somebody else, and it came out victorious. But Ken, like I said, read your email. I did make a request for clarification because I tried to figure out what was wrong, and I'll need you to give me those timestamps so we can address it. But you'll have your response to your legal filing.
Is it kind of like one of those? I didn't say I said we.
Oh yeah, well yeah, kind of like that, or kind of like he'll find out when I respond. But in any case, these are the retractions.
Did he sue you in state court or federal court?
He sued me in state court.
Yep. local county to him,
local county
which
to
is several hundred miles out of jurisdiction.
yeah, but that's
Can they force you to appear in a state civil court like that?
yeah, apparently so.
Well, he has. This is according to my attorney.
Mhm.
When you're, what happens is when you sue for defamation, you have to first basically identify jurisdiction. The problem is because Eric is based in New York, Eric's show is produced and
Distributed.
basically, transmitted from New York. Ken has to sue him in New York.
Right.
Ken, in his lawsuit, from what I understand, tried to use the argument that because he lives in Kentucky, Kentucky has jurisdiction. Now, my attorney, who is a very, very experienced, Eric knows who she is, very experienced federal litigator, said absolutely not. File a motion to dismiss based on improper venue. By the way, Monday, Eric, I'm giving you the exact Kentucky statute. She's pulling that for me that you reply with, and it'll be gone like that.
That is awesome. So,
but I don't get it. So does he have an attorney, or is he?
No, he's
pro se.
He's pro se.
Yeah.
Now, just to put things in perspective, when I was sued prior, to sue me required them to find a New York attorney that would take the case.
Yep.
They couldn't, so their other option was to find a federal attorney that would take the case and sue me in a local federal court, which is what in the end happened. Yeah. I was still victorious, but just saying, I know how the courts work, having been involved in the process, even prior as a police officer for 20 years. But neither here nor there.
And the thing is, Whitman doesn't get about defamation, and this is the kicker with his allegations, because he threw a takedown on me too.
Mm-hmm.
Is like I made the comment that he claimed he worked on Dark Sun, and Ken goes, I never said I worked on Dark Sun. I said we worked on Dark Sun, and it's like, even if I said you worked on Dark Sun, that's not defamation. Defamation is something that brings damage to you, that damages your reputation. And saying that he did not work on Dark Sun, and then him saying in his takedown, I didn't work on Dark Sun. It's like,
okay,
you just admitted that I was right, but you're playing semantics. And that's what Ken does. He's a good semantic player.
So in any case, I wanted to keep people up to date. And yes, he is a minion. I suspect he became a minion because he wanted to know if there was anything behind the paywall that he needed to know about.
Well, thank him for his few bucks a month. Hell yeah.
It'll help pay for the postage.
How much is it, Eric? He pays
$1.99. So then,
not quite a Guinness.
No, but it'll pay for the postage for the registered mail, and that's fine. It goes toward that. So saying things that are true, even if bad, is not defamation. That is correct.
Yeah.
Truth is the ultimate defense.
Yeah.
So is not having jurisdiction, but that's besides the point.
Jurisdiction is a big thing. I mean, that was one of the first things that she said. My attorney said was, wait, he's from Kentucky and he's suing him and he lives in New York? I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's easy.
Yeah. Oh, Mark? Yeah, no.
Two-page motion.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
By the way, folks, be nice in the comments. I've been told that I am responsible for anything that happens on this screen. So hopefully Rob keeps his shirt on because I don't want to get in trouble.
No, I'm fine with saying I think Ken's a fucking asshole.
No, just kidding.
He can go ahead and sue me. I don't give a shit.
Oh,
I'm not James Raggy here.
Oh well, thank God for that.
Are we all wearing?
Sorry, James, but you do make those videos while you're naked. So,
but
that is a true statement.
Do we all have pants or shorts on, Eric?
I have boxers on, boxer briefs.
Hey, that does count.
I mean,
I feel sorry for Rob. Rob's just sitting there going, "How in the hell did I get myself pulled in this bullshit?"
By the way, folks, I will.
All I say is Ken Whitman owes me a Traveler TV series.
Oh, well, all right. Well, yeah, no, I'm sure
Well,
Ken
wait till you see the video I do to show the lawsuit currently against him. Evidently, he owes a little bit more than that to some people, but I'll show the paperwork, the receipts, as Eric says.
yes. So, but in any case, I wanted to get the legalese out of the way. Like I said, Ken, I know you're watching either live or afterwards. I sent you an email. I can't retract, I can't correct without timestamps. I am many things. Omniscient, I am not. So, legalese out of the way.
What the hell are you eating, by the way?
Nerds gummy clusters, because
My son likes those.
you know, if I'm going to have low blood sugar, which it's not Gamer's Health, but my blood sugar just went down just under the good number of 70 to 69. Don't say anything. Um, I'm just saying. I figure let me have my nerds nearby.
Do we know why Eric's wearing his briefs now?
Yeah.
Hey,
I'll say it. Can we get back to gaming?
Sure.
I do have something to show, some progress.
okay.
I have this is the final PDF. I still have to get the proofs in. So I got a little
Excellent.
bit more work to do, but this is the table of contents, and I introduce everything, explain what's up, the assumptions that I use, so people don't have to figure it out for themselves. And of course, I have stuff that I use from my Majestic Fantasy RPG, but if you don't use it, I tell you how to convert it. You're not left hanging on that. So then I go into start going into the overview.
That's nicely laid out, by the way, Rob.
Oh, thank you, Don. This is art by Rick Hershey. More art by Rick Hershey. This is art by Richard Luschek. Another art piece by Richard Luschek.
It's really good.
I did the coats of arms. And also all the files for these coats of arms are provided as part of the what the backers will get and what you will be able to buy once it's released to the public, hopefully in March. And I'll be releasing it. I will be bringing copies with me to WizardsCon if the print-on-demand gods are kind to me.
Excellent. Excellent.
Very cool. There's another Richard Luschek pieces. He just did Asmir for Harn, and I figured I assigned him all the dwarven pieces, figured it out was up his wheelhouse.
Chris wants to know, can you ask him to blow it up larger, the title page to see? Yeah, there you go.
Best I can do is this. And that just takes us off the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nicely done. Seriously, Rob.
And more coats of arms. And now what I decided to do I didn't have, excuse my language, but I pooped out when it came to writing up the towns. I wanted to include 10 towns with this, but it would have blown the page. The page count of this is 244 page. And even if I did them the original Harn Terse style, where you have 6 to 8 pages per city, it was just a hill too far. But I did have some of the map. So I finished up the map and I keyed them up a bit and include them as full page art. So this is one of them, the Thydium Northport.
Oh, you got a couple of questions, Rob, so I'm going to read them out to you.
Okay, yes, pledges are still open.
And POD versions from the Kickstarter, when can they order that, do you think?
Hopefully within 3 weeks.
Okay. What system is this for? It's basically think OSR neutral. It's for Rob Projected Rotolens, which is based on Swords and Wizardry with the Rob Conley twist.
Yes, it's Swords and Wizardry with the Rob Conley twist.
Basically, so it should fit pretty much any OSR system of your choice pretty well.
Yeah, it will even work with D&D 5e if that's your jam. It will work with GURPS Fantasy if that's your jam. So there's no stat block. There's monsters at the end, and they're statted for they're monsters and items at the end, and they're statted for swords and wizardry. So timeline, and then so now we get into the meat of the product, which is of course the terrain and the locale. And this is the first image I found from.
That's Lofgren, isn't it?
I'm sorry, what?
Is that Lofgren?
No.
Or Spencer?
I'm Spencer. Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
Don. That's Dean Spencer.
Yeah.
So I found this piece on Dean Spencer, and I thought, wow, this is great for the Great Glacier, but I need more. So I'll show you the more in a minute. But so these are the terrain locales. They're in alphabetical order, including the hex location, so you can find where they are in the map. And and one quick thing to orient everybody here. So the product consists of 4 12 by 18 maps arranged in quadrants like this. So we're going to be going, there's 4 chapters of these maps. And then we get into the locales here, which has their hex number, and they're in hex number order. And also, if you noticed up here, I have a header, so you can flip it open to anywhere in the book and know instantly where you're at. You don't have to remember page numbers and stuff.
So Chris has a question for you, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
When this gets up on drive-through, what would the suggested retail be?
I'm still waiting for the final print cost, but when it goes up the drive-through, if you're going to buy the print, the hardback plus the maps will be $60. So I believe I'm going to put it in at $45 for the hardback guidebook, and then the print maps will be $15.
And you said this is a 200 page book?
244 page book.
That's a good price. $45 basically for a book that size with this type of content.
Yeah.
Hardback.
And the PDF will be $40, $39.99.
Nice.
And you don't have to buy the maps. I'm not going to be like Domanwood. I mean, yes, Necrotic Gnome did a good job with Domanwood, but they did kind of break it up into a whole bunch of products, leaving your head scratching what to get. Now, the $15 for the map, it's just if you want to order the print copy. The PDF that's available with that, it's just a preview PDF for free. The map, if you buy the $40 PDF, it comes with the maps.
Okay.
I tried it the other way with the Waterlands. The maps were the primary product, and the guidebook was the print only, and that just confused the hell out of everybody. So I'm not doing it with this.
Rob, you have another question. What was the inspiration for the module setting?
Well, first and foremost, it was my Majestic Waterlands, my campaign of 30 years. And basically, for people who don't know the original Waterlands of High Fantasy, Judges Guild did not have a lot of campaign background. In fact, if you look at the entire Waterlands product line, it amounted to maybe 6 pages with stuff without art, So when you ran it, you kind of came up with your own stuff to explain, why what's in the Barbarian Altanus, what's versus the Gainor Highlands, and you just kind of look at what the entries that they had and try to figure up a background that that worked for you. Well, when you do that for a couple of decades, you kind of come up with a lot of original stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't have a Judges Guild license, so I wrote Points of Light in 2008, and that was going to be all my original material with the Judges Guild IP cut out. And then I had a 10-year diversion because instead of getting paid for a map project, I asked for a license instead, and Bob Bledsaw Jr. granted it to me. So I worked on the Majestic Waterlands because, hey, if I could just use my notes as is, that saves a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
But then the license ended. You can go read about it on my blog if you want to get that story. And so now I'm back to my original plan. So I did release Black Marsh, which many of you are familiar with. And Black Marsh built on points of light. So this particular product is a combination of Black Marsh, Southlands from Points of Light, which is set in the same time period as Black Marsh, and I took the Wild North, which I wrote for Fight On #3, which you can still get, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That was written to be Wildlands adjacent, but all I did was rework the lower third of that map and put it to the north of Black Marsh, and then I filled out the corners, and that is the Northern March. And then I made a whole continent, which was I already had notes on that, so now I fleshed it out as much as I needed for this product, and I'll show you the continental map later on. But yeah, that's the inspiration. The work all of everything you see here was adapted to something that happened from actual play from back in the day.
Nice.
So now you see one of the other town maps here. This is the city in. This is the capital of a merchant republic in the Wild North called Sudsdale, and basically, if you guys know your Russian history, there was a city-state called Novgorod. This is where I take my
Yeah,
inspiration.
Novogorsk. Yep.
Yeah. So here and then, so back to Dean Spencer. I checked his full color art section, and he had that. Okay, I can use that. And then here we're back to terrain, more locales, more coats of arms. Oh, Richard Lutchek. I originally had him do two pieces. This is of the Lich Koshti the Undying. It's actually a real Russian myth, and I adapted him for this setting. His stick, he's not your typical Lich. His whole motivation is to find the reincarnated spirit of his lost love. So periodically he'll venture from the Tower of the Undying and kidnap this woman and examine her spirit to see if she's the reincarnation. And unfortunately, the re-examination is a little hard on the body, and it usually winds up killing them. So he turns them into a zombie. So there's over 1,000 female zombies wandering the hills outside of his tower.
Nice.
And there are other locales that are related to him that where he had either an attempt that succeeded or an attempt that was foiled. But yeah, he's like the bane of the Wild North of existence. So now, and again, for this one, I expanded the Castle Blackmarsh map and it made it a full color map for this version. And then of course, Dean Spencer had a perfect map for Blackmarsh. And we go through this. Oh, this is how Dwarven coats of arms are not on a kite shield, but a tower shield. Then Castle Belden is a bad guy, an exiled baron who's head of a cult of a secretive cult that worships the blood goddess Callus, and they also keep slaves. So he's deep in the wilderness of Southland. And then another full color map. And then I found a city scene that I used for Northport because the town of Northport is the Northport map is mostly settled terrain. And I have a map showing all the different realms in the Northern Marches. And this is the continental map.
Nice.
I know it's rotated, so it's a little hard to see. But yeah, I form a whole continent, and even though it's not fully fleshed out, one of my future projects, hopefully in 2027, because I got my 2026 card is a bit filled, it's going to be a gazetter, a nice terse 48-page, 64-page gazetter in the original Greyhawk folio style, so everybody can start fleshing this out for themselves. I have notes on all this, but I don't have it. I don't have the finished manuscript done. I wanted to include that with this, but again, that was a bridge too far. And rather than hitting you with the history at the beginning, I put it at the end. So if you want more details about like the Sewells and the Great Glacier, about the mountain fell in the Black Marsh Wars, the arrival of the Black Empire and what the shattering meant. And then I go into this my cosmology, which got some unique stuff. I don't have outer planes. Instead, I have pocket dimensions called roads, which are physically attached to the world, and they form I'm not sure how to zoom in Adobe Acrobat, but they form like a bubble. And I explain how you can map them using these examples of a road that's in the setting.
Nice.
And so the basic principle is you enter through the neck, which is this gray blob here, and you can travel, and you can see this outer shape has the same outer shape as this. So it's the equator. So if you travel from point E, go through here, you emerge from here, encounter this big sea that has no business being there, go around it, exit through here, come back, and all of a sudden you find yourself emerge here back into the forest. So. And then I go into, people were asking questions about demographics, so I have a short blurb, about demographics that you can use to expand the setting or use your own setting. And by the way, you don't have to use my continent. I devised it so that all the moving parts are visible. So if you have your own setting, you should be able to dovetail this in an out of the way corner of your setting. And of course, I give the map key. And then I put my travel rules. I expanded it. Some of it, this is in my How to Make a Fantasy Sandbox, but I expanded it here, explain how to do travel. And then so back all the way here, and I know, and I hope you guys are enjoying the hard sell, but this is like my pride and joy at the moment.
Yeah, as well it should be.
All right, let's see where I can find it. Okay, so again, I know it's a little hard to see at this scale. Sorry for that, but in addition to the overland, there is a complete underwater setting. See all those red dots there, folks? Those are just the highlights of what's in the Gray Sea. So, so if you ever, so I can't think, I can count on the number of my hands the settings out there that actually support undersea adventure, and I don't give you the locale and spec you the wing, how did the adventure go underwater and all that stuff. I give you rules, and I call them underwater descents, and explain all the different things that are in Swords and Wizardry that you can do, all the different magic items, the different things you can use for mounts like dolphins, giant manta rays, giant sea turtles, seahorses, hippocampus. They even had a few original things called lilyweed. That's like a weed that you can pick and use its leaves over your mouth and breathe underwater. And my magic spells that are applicable. Oh, and one thing that I'm particularly proud of is Decanter of Endless Water. Well, what the hell is a Decanter of Endless Water good? So I tell you right here, underwater use. This is the normal description when you look it up in Swords and Wizardry or Osric. But here is how you can use it for pushing and for travel. You just aim the sucker, and you got yourself an equivalent of a jet.
Oh, that's cool.
So I go into ships, and then I have my encounter rules. So I don't. When you travel long distance, you're going to make a encounter rule every 8 hours or every day, whatever the default for it is. And you're just rolling and rolling and rolling. Well, in mathematics, you can do what they call binomial distribution. And if you know how many rolls you're going to make, at what probability, you can just do a single bell curve roll, like 2d6 or 3d6, and just generate that number of encounters. And the problem I have with any periodic encounter system is they never quite fit where the players are actually at. And for good reason, because they kind of have to abstract the region. Otherwise, your supplement's going to balloon odd of the your page count is going to balloon like crazy. So what I just do, okay, let's make the rules all at once at the beginning of the journey. So if you have a 1 week journey, you roll 1d4 encounters. And then you roll the type of encounters based on the type of journey, and you place them where they make sense. So we take advantage of the rulings, not rules mentality of the OSR, and make encounters have sense. So they're still rigorous in that you're still rolling it like you normally, but you're kind of saving a lot of time in generating them. So I go into the details. So you have journeys, which are overland, voyages, which are sea over the water. You have trips, which in cities, and this is new. This is not in How to Make a Fantasy Sandbox. Descent, which is underwater travel, and unlike overland trips and journeys, descent, water. It's more about there's a lot of water conditioned things here, so you can run into downwelling and upwelling, rip current, drift current, entangling weeds, murky water, algae blooms, swarms of animals, in addition to your normal random encounters and stuff. And of course, for those of you who want normal random encounters, I have tables for each of the major regions of the Wilder North. Now, I don't have straight probability. What I do is I have you roll a d4 plus a d8, which creates a plateau. So all your 4 center ones are common. Then you have your uncommon, a pair of uncommon ones, a pair of rare, and a pair of very, very rare. And this map shows all the encounter region. And then I give you rumor tables, new monsters and magic items, including fairies, which are unique. I have a unique take on fairies, and I give you the stats for the she, and plus another Dean Spencer picture that was picked. And then, of course, I give you all the heraldries and who they belong to for reference. And then we get to the index. And all these indexes are clickable. So if I click on this, it takes you to the page to the Thynia Hills. So that is something that I know a lot of people complain about different PDF. So not only I give you terrain in alphabetical order, I give you a nice, what I call a register of all the locales. So you can see at a glance any interesting locales that are in there. And I do that for all 4 maps. And then I give you a general index. So I tell you, if you want to know where all the Rosans are mentioned, where all the Vikings are mentioned, or where the barony of Vetrus Tower has power, and the primary index is highlighted in here. So here we go. We have the Tiber entry. And finally, I had a blank page, so I put price list because some of my backers requested. I make occasional reference to pricing, so they wanted to get a general sense of that. So that is pretty much the 10-cent overview of.
No, you gave a full quarter. People got the money worth. But
so I hope that answered everybody's question.
Well, I'm sure we'll have a few more questions before that because somebody's going to go.
I forgot the best part.
What?
So everything you see, including the heraldry and the maps, are going to be released under Creative Commons
Nice.
contribution.
Now that's huge.
But this PDF is under copyright. I'm giving you a markdown document and an RTF document.
Okay.
Those are going to be a created column. So for any, I'm not saying the people here are jerks, but in the future, if a jerk is hearing this, have fun laying this out for yourself.
Well, and for folks who don't know, I mean, Rob has been very generous with the gaming community, the OSR in particular. Black Marsh was basically given to the OSR by Rob, and it is a great example of a sandbox / hex crawl. And if you don't have it, you should go at the very least download the PDF. But I have it. I have multiple copies in print, but you can't have mine.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice book in print. I used to have it at letter size and staple bound, and because I have a letter size map for Black Marsh, and I kind of missed that they did away with the staple bound. But I got to admit, the hardback digest size is pretty nice. I'm pretty pleased with it, and just as important, the map. You're not going to lose anything in this bad boy because this hex row is this hex row over here. So,
Oh, okay.
you're for all those who are about to do their first project, please put a 1/4 inch overlap in this area. Don't try to make them.
Yep. Don't let it go into the gutter.
Yeah, don't let it go into the gutter.
No guttering.
No.
Well, so now I'm going to show something off.
Staple bound. Well, you can get away with it staple bound.
Okay, I'm going to show something off. I've already shown this on another live stream, but Wenger sent me 10 of these. It's Charles, and I got to say, I'm gonna blow myself up for a second. It's got nice binding. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Invisibility. In any case, it has nice binding. It's got the photo cover. He signed them. He numbered them. I'm gonna bring 5 with me to TotalCon. I'm probably giving 1 to Joe, the lawyer, 1 to Joe Block, and that means I should have hopefully 3 to give away. Otherwise, just find me. I'll probably have one in my bag at the time. This was Wenger dealing with Wife Aggro because he has a basement full of these, or did at least. And as Rach put it to me, because I said to him, Rach, go, well, Via Wenger sent me 10. She goes, the same thing? I go, well, yeah, I'm going to give them away. And she's like, did he say why? I'm like, yeah, his wife wants him out of the basement. So Rach was like, oh, so what he's trying to do is pass on the Wife Aggro. I go,
Nice.
Yeah. She goes, so how many are you bringing to TotalCon? I go, I got 5. Only 5? I go, I'll bring the rest. I'm going to keep one, but I'll bring the rest to WizardCon.
And I will be at WizardCon if the PDI, if the print on demand gods smile nicely on me, I will have physical copies.
Excellent. Good deal.
That'd be awesome. So, but yeah. Now when that box showed up last week, I was like, "Damn, this is heavy." And then I'm looking at it, I'm going, "Oh my god, I got a feeling that this is from Wenger," but I didn't realize it was going to be 10 of the same book. But that's fine. I mean, I will say this: the physical quality of these books are awesome. The artwork inside is top notch.
That's end sewn binding, by the way. It's called. So that's a higher step level of binding for case bound.
So he's
nice higher than the Smith binding.
Yeah.
Oh, what do they do different?
Yeah, what they do is they spiral with thread. Sometimes I think he did multicolor at the end of the bind. And what it does is it adds a nice look to the end of the bind, and it increases the quality of the bind and the basically how the longevity of the bind itself.
Yeah, it looks like it's red and yellow or something like that, or maroon and yellow. So, and actually, I haven't even looked to see. Oh, look at that. It's got a nice little gold child.
Yes, foil embossed. He put money into in those
Yeah,
books.
I thought so. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe this was his magnus opus. This is the
yes.
thing that got him into publishing in the first place that he really wanted to release in the form, which is
He
good
did
for him.
2,000 copies because this copy is 1,075 to my hands right now. So I will be giving some Wenger love. Does not include any reach arounds or anything like that. But I will.
No tentacles.
No tentacles. No. We're gonna all be very nice and very proper. But no, it was very generous of V, and I got it. Now I'm hoping to have something else for TotalCon. I don't think they're going to arrive in time because although I got a shipping notification, my shipping notification tells me that there's no shipping notification, which means they generated the shipping number, but they haven't given it to the post office yet. But I did order 10 Cars Tavern D6 dice. So if I have them, I'll be happy to give you one at TotalCon. If not, I'll have to wait the WizardCon before I can start giving those things out. So.
Oh, wait a minute. We forgot one important thing. Don, when is WizardCon? Let people know.
April 24th, 25th, and 26th.
That'd be fun.
Yep, Battle Creek, Michigan. Much better venue this time. Much better layout for vendors. Everybody is right there. So,
well, that's cool.
Yeah.
The only complaint is we're now a half hour further out. It's a half hour between Battle Creek and Kalamazoo, right?
Yeah, but you can fly into Battle Creek. Battle Creek has an international airport.
Oh, so that's good.
I'm going to drive. I mean, I'm living in Western PA.
He's living dangerously.
I don't have to haul ass across my long ass.
Well, then it'll be quick. It'll be quicker for you then by 30 minutes.
Well, no, it's to Holland. My wife Kellyanne likes to go to Holland.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have 30-minute add-on then about that. Yep.
Oh yeah, but for me, it's going to be a slightly shorter drive, so I'm happy about that. That is good for me. And this year, Route 80 in Pennsylvania should not be closed down by Interstate 80 should not be closed down by 15, like it was last year for collapsing coal mines or some crap like that.
The thing crazy about Michigan is this weekend we're supposed to get weather almost 50 degrees. So that means we've had a temperature differential of 70 degrees in the last 10 days.
Holy crap.
We were negative 35 10 days ago. And we hit almost 50 today.
Wow.
And they're expecting March to be beautiful.
Yeah, so we're going to get that tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're going to be very, very wet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we hit a wind. I think our wind chill, a couple of days ago was like negative 18. I was like, wow, we're in Michigan weather at this point.
Yeah.
But today hit like 37. The snow from nearly 3 weeks ago is slowly starting to melt.
Yep, same here.
And if you don't know New York City snow, if it sticks around longer than 2 or 3 days, it is one of 3 colors. It is. I will graciously call it muddy brown. It is gray, and it's gray from the dirt and the soot, or it's New York City lemon ice king color.
Nice.
Yeah, you don't want to eat it. You don't want to eat New York City snow. Just don't do it. Just saying. But we've stayed cold long enough. I was actually hoping that they would bring back street cleaning rules so they could move the plows through and clear out the parking lanes, but no, they keep on suspending it. So it's just a mess. Yes, Tom, don't eat the yellow snow.
That's right.
It's not lemonade. I'm sorry.
No.
So, Don, you had something you wanted to bring up, didn't you, today?
I did?
I thought you did. or maybe or Rob. Actually, it was Rob, you had something you wanted to bring up. Sorry, that wasn't about the Kickstarter.
No, I do have one more thing to show about the Kickstarter, but if we have time at the end of the show, I could show off my maps at the end of the show. But yeah, I like to talk about the state of the. What do you guys think in 2026, early 2026, is the state of the OSR? I was on a panel, so I went to Page, and I was privileged to be on a panel entitled "The State of the OSR." I was on with Kelsey Dion of Shadow Dark fame, so I got to meet her for the first time. That was nice. Even got a signed copy of Shadow Dark,
Awesome.
and she had me sign a copy of Black Marsh.
Nice.
And Luke Crane hosted it, and Tiger Wizard, and I keep forgetting the other gentleman's name. His name also starts with L. But anyway, we had a discussion. Well, it didn't start out, it was titled The State of the OSR. Of course, the first question was, what is the OSR? And so, but we answered that, and I thought it was really a great panel discussion. And they're going to host it, and I will give Eric the link when it comes up on their podcast. It was Luke Crane makes the Pirate Borg. And he also has a podcast that he puts up on YouTube, and it should be up in sometime in March, episode 3. They just released episode 1 of their second season. They're going to make that episode 3. So when that's up, I'll let them know. But I'm just curious to let you guys know, or what your thoughts on what is the state of the OSR in 2026? And we'll start with that question.
Don, you want to take the ball, or shall I?
I mean, the thing is, the state of the OSR, I think it's alive and well. In fact, if anything, I think there's almost a renaissance with it, with younger players having more exposure to it. Games like Shadow Dark are exposing more younger players to more of an OSR style. So I think, if anything, if you want to classify as, OSR, I think if anything, it's a positive. It's growing.
Yes. I mean, I've noticed something. Listen, if you watch this channel, I do videos that are very BX heavy, procedure heavy, and I would think, because of my focus, I would not have much of a 5e audience.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm having 5e GMs take my content, the procedure content, whether it's morale or reaction rolls or restocking the dungeon, and go, this ports over to 5e, and it makes my 5e better. So what do I think the state of the OSR is? I think the OSR is it's certainly healthy, but I think the OSR is becoming a bit viral. It's kind of spreading in ways it didn't expect, because 5e players, believe it or not, a lot of them want a challenge.
Yes.
They like the 5e system, okay? They like the 5, and you'll never hear me say 5e is a bad system. I believe that the healing is screwed up, and death saves, but they want something that's a bit more challenging, and they're finding that by taking certain old school procedures, not the old school rules, but the procedures that ran in the background, is making 5e, I guess, I don't want to say a more complete game, but more true to its roots. I think that's important.
And we got to remember the 2014 version was designed by Merle to operate and his team, operate in several different modes. So if you go and grab the old 2014 basic rules, and that I have played both my Majestic Fantasy campaign and enough Swords and Wizardry rules as written, and I played 5e with no feats, no multi-classing, none of the newer stuff, but just the basic what they got. And I can take OD&D material, drop in the 5e stats, and it works as expected. And then I take 5e. I took the Fandalin, and I can use it with my Majestic Fantasy RPG. Drop in my stats, it works as expected. So
Yeah, and I think larger game manufacturing companies are taking heed of that too in many ways. And I think that's something you're going to see pan out later on in 2026, especially now we're getting into, we're still early 2026. I think that, people are going to start seeing, more of an OSR based content being absorbed by these larger companies with types with licenses and such. But, if anything, I think, like I said earlier, I think the OSR is probably in a much better position in early 2026 than it was even in early 2025.
Yeah, I think so because, and people are going to go, oh, there's so many options. That's the strength of the OSR,
Yeah.
folks. And the strength of the OSR. Listen, can you take a Pathfinder adventure and run it in 5e? Sure, you're going to have to hack it, tweak it, smack it, shove the round peg into the triangular hole. It'll take some work. You can run pretty much any classic, anything from basic BX, BECME, 1E, 2E, and you can run all those with all the new OSR rule sets, and it all runs.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a good engine.
it's a very good engine,
Yeah.
and people, kind of forget that you don't have to commit to one system in the OSR. And if honestly, I mean, DCC RPG, I ran a number of sessions of it back in the day. My players, especially Joe the lawyer, not a good fit. However, the adventures, I can convert DCC adventures to Swords and Wizardry or Osric on the fly. Okay, they're easy enough to backwards convert. Just run them, and they like those adventures. Okay, so if you find adventures that you like in the OSR, they'll play with others. Whatever your favorite system is. Every system in the OSR is pretty much somebody's favorite house rules.
So I've always contended, I like to debate people RPG theory stuff on the forums. It's a weakness of mine. But one of the things I like to point out, and I feel I have a pretty good case based on all what I've read about the history of role playing in D&D, is that RPGs by the nature of their birth were hybrid games between wargaming. It was David Wesley and his Brownstein, and then they turned the single session Brownstein into campaigns, and one guy wanted to do Wild West, and Dave Aronson did, okay, I'm going to do a medieval fantasy instead of Napoleonics. And so I believe RPGs at their fundamental core is a hybrid system. So hybridization is the natural form of any RPG. It's not meant to be rules as written. It's meant to say, I got something in fun I want to run for the players. I'm going to take most of my stuff, say from Swords and Wizardry or D&D 5e or Osric, but then I'm going to put this in and that in. I think gold for XP is stupid, so I'm going to do this for XP. I think I need a different list. I want to do Greek mythology, so I'm going to use this monster manual that's filled with Greek monsters instead of the standard list. And out comes the campaign that the group finds fun. And that's the norm, not the exception. And so that's what I feel is that's why one of the reasons that OSR is so viable today. So
yeah,
back to the panel for a second. So I've kind of prepared myself to answer the state of the OSR question, but I was asked, what is the OSR as the first question? So I kind of had to ad-lib my answer. So you want to hear what I was originally going to say?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. So what I was originally going to say, in 2009, I wrote on my blog that the OSR wasn't about a specific rule book or running dungeon crawl. It was about going back to the roots of our hobby to see what avenues were left unexplored because of the personal or commercial interest of the time. In some respects, the OSR is an alternate history of game design. Today, in 2026, we are living in that alternate history. The OSR remains viable because those classic play styles are still fun to play today, but also because we finally built the infrastructure to support those unexplored avenues. Through open license and digital distribution, we made it practical to play and publish those classic editions again. What really sets the OSR apart now is the absence of a market leader. Because no one controls the IP, creators are free to pursue their interest in any form, from blog posts and do-it-yourself design to professional hardcovers. Crowdfunding has reinforced forging a path from the gaming table to a global audience. That's why Osric, Shadow Dark, or Pirate Borg ended up in your hands today. And this is why the OSR isn't a trend. It is a permanent shift in our hobby. Each new generation takes this raw material and reforges it. You can see that in the work of everyone who participates in the OSR. And 20 years from now, and folks you don't know, this is the 20th year of the OSR. We're counting it from the release of Osric in 2006. 20 years from now, I'm confident that there'll be another group sitting here still exploring these avenues. And that was the statement.
Rob, you really prep for this stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I used to just wing that stuff when I was at work. Holy crap!
Well, not to be immodest, but I ad-lib my question on what the OSR is, and I'll explain the main difference. I'm not going to recount the speech.
Right.
I don't remember the speech. I'm waiting for the instant replay so I can write about it in my blog. But I got an applaud at the end. I was the last to go, and everybody, including everyone on the panel, I was a bit flabbergasted. But the main point of the main difference between what I just read to you in my speech is what I emphasized. OSR is not about a set of rules. I know. I'll get to where the rules come into play, but it's not about the set of rules. It's not about the play set. The play style. It's about the fact that we were one of the earliest niches of the hobby to take advantage of PDFs, of print on demand through Lulu, then drive through, because they came a little bit later after Lulu. And we exploited that. And because we exploited that, it dropped the barriers to what it took anybody here, Tank Ferret, Sausage Head, Fugly. They wanted to do their project. They can do it in the time that they have for a hobby. And, at first, because of the IP, worried about Wizards coming through, everybody was worried about that, worried about them. So not a whole lot of people took advantage. But then I took advantage of it, James Raggy, and it just started snowballing then. Now, anybody with a creative vision, no matter how odd or how detailed it is, can make a go at it. The material, the open content that Matt Finch used, is still there waiting to be used. And that's what keeps the overall OSR relevant and viable. It is not a philosophy, a set of rules, it's the logistics. You know what they say, tactics win battle, logistics win wars, and that's why we're winning the war.
Okay.
And what the impact of the classic editions are is they form a center of gravity for the OSR. They're out of print. Nobody can change them. I mean, sure, Wizards can try to reprint them and do any kind of corrections they want, but they're a historical artifact. So what they do, what the way to think of them, they're like the central sun of our OSR system. You have Osric, you have Swords and Wizardry, you have Labyrinth Lord, you have OSE. They are tight orbit. Mercury, they're the Mercuries and Venus of the OSR world. And then you have my Majestic Fantasy RPG. You had, in the early days, you have Blood and Treasure. You have Adventurer, Conqueror, King. We're out in the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. And then you have, Shadow Dark, which is still in orbit around that OSR, but a lot of 5e vibe in Shadow Dark. So it's the asteroid belt or Saturn. And then you have, you have some systems like GURPS Dungeon Fantasy or Torchbearer. They take inspiration or OSR. They may start out in the Orc Cloud, but they kind of achieve escape velocity, become their own thing with their own community surrounding them, because obviously they have very different assumptions. But still, that's what the OSR. There's no boundary. People don't realize this, but there is no point where the sun's gravity stops. It influences other stars. For hundreds of light years in every direction, the sun gravity influence. There's just a point where you'll just take off in your own direction if you just decide to do something different. And to me, that rather than worried about whether it's inside a line or outside, I just think it's a matter of just figuring out whether you're in orbit around it all.
Well, see, my definition for what the OSR is a lot simpler now than it was when the last time I tried to define it, because I would say if you can take one of your classic adventures off the shelf and run the adventure without having to make changes to it, it's OSR. Okay, so
you're saying we should test
what is OSR influence
radiation, just like we do for solar radiation.
Yeah, I mean, if I take Keep of the Borderlands, can I run it with Shadow Dark? Yeah, I can run with Shadow Dark. Yeah. Can I run that with GURPS Fantasy? Can I run GURPS Fantasy and my adventure? Sure, it's gonna take a lot of work, so it's not pull off the shelf ready. It's I got to put effort into it and convert it ready. To me, that's where that line goes. Can I pull something from 40 years ago, 50 years ago off the shelf and run it with a rule set that was printed earlier this year or last year? If I can do that, it's OSR, which is why Mork Borg is OSR influenced, certainly. Maybe it's OSR adjacent, but I can't pull B2 off the shelf behind me and take the Mork Borg rules and run it.
I would say Mork Borg is out in the Orc Cloud.
Yeah. So that. So now here I'll Zweihander, right? Now Zweihander is on drive-through. If you take the drive-through definitions and listen, he actually commented on my video today, but the thing is, Zweihander is not OSR. It is certainly old school in nature, but it's grafting onto a different tree. It's grafting onto the classic Warhammer Fantasy roleplay tree. Mm-hmm. That's fine, but I can't run Death on the Reich with Axe. I can't run my old adventures for Warhammer using an OSR rule set. But the only community content for the OSR is Zweihander content.
And also, I had a pleasant conversation with Daniel Fox over a few things. That's the whole reason why he put that category. So he could be he can occupy that strip on drive-through RPG all to themselves. And when I get my Majestic Fantasy realm done and out there, I'm going to be exploring about how to make a OSR community content program. And don't worry, guys, I'm not abandoning open content, because I'll just tell you, that I learned that even though drive-through has a boilerplate license you can use, if they're approved, the publisher is the one who sets the license, not
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also the OSR versus modern RPGs. Modern RPGs is very rule centric. Very rigidly rule centric, whereas OSR is more theater of the mind, more open to the GM's decisions.
Mm-hmm.
They can go ahead. The OSR encourages the game master, the dungeon master, to make it their own.
To be empowered.
Yes. And Fuse Blower here asked a really interesting question. He pulled down below. It says, should different OSR publishers concentrate on certain flavor to distinguish themselves and attract a certain audience? As a game publisher, and I'm sure Rob might agree with me on this, that's really dangerous to do, because as a publisher, if publishing is your full-time business, you want to sell product. And although I am very heavy OSR centric, my company is going to be putting out Shadow Dark based material and also 5e material. And that's a business decision. And that's the difference between dedicated game publishing companies and doing it, if you have a full-time job or whatnot and you're doing it on the side.
Right. And let me explain that to you, because I was adjacent to Frog God Games for a number of years, and I knew a lot of the people within it. So I'm going to talk from that point of view, and I'm going to mention it from the Goodman Games point of view, just from as an outsider. But a lot of times, your passion products, okay, in the case of Goodman Games, OSR / Swords and Wizardry, wasn't going to pay the bills. It was Pathfinder for the longest time, then it was 5e. Yeah. So you would have a product on Kickstarter in all three flavors, and people would go, why? Well, the reason is because if you want to get your passion version out, your OSR Swords and Wizardry version out, you still have to pay the artist, you still have to pay the writer, you still have to pay the layout, and the way you're going and keep a company afloat. The way you do that is to market to all the audiences you can.
That's right.
Now, Goodman Games, all right? We're going to look at Goodman. Goodman was smart, right? 4E shat the bed, and Joe, and put his company into the 4E lane for a while. He had the Level Up magazine. He converted DCC Adventures over to 4E, and then he realized, oh wait, I need my own system, because then I can control it, and if it's successful, then I have my own market. Yep. But what's the first thing Joe did when he could? He grabbed the 5e license to do the classic reprints. Yep. And why is that? Because, well, it gave 5e customers a chance to see the Goodman Games products. Mm-hmm. And that's as much as I love the OSR, and I am ass deep in the OSR, 5e, maybe not 2024, but 5e in general, is and was the rising tide that lifts all ships.
That's right.
And a successful D&D branded RPG will lift up all other games in that orbit. Like Rob talks about the solar system and the sun and the gravitational pull. Well, think of 5e, the D&D brand, as that black hole. Even if you don't respect it, and even if you don't want to see it, it is there, and it's going to influence. Don't fight it, ride it.
Yeah,
it's my opinion. So
the first thing I'll mention is, thanks to technology, and not just technology, is, I guess, for lack of a better word, system innovation, cultural innovation, like Kickstarter, print on demand. We had printers forever, but then somebody say, well, if we put all these together, we can print books on demand. So that's more like a system innovation. But because of those technology and system innovation, we now have a path from you typing up a few pages for your games table and only sharing with your buddy, to, okay, let's share blog with a dozen readers, and then I can get a drive-through account. You start spending some of your hobby time putting stuff on drive-through, and then soon you got audience in a dozen, and you say, I can afford a little bit of art now, so you put one or two pieces in, and now you got an audience. Then if you decided to continue interest, you can go hundreds of people, and then with crowdfunding, you can start funding. You could see what the interests are in your project, and if you're lucky, like me, you can get a $40,000 Kickstarter. You can drop 10 grand. That's how much I paid for my art combined, and I paid another 3,000 for editing services. You can spend $13,000 on getting your book up to snuff, and then if, like Dawn, or the Fraud God games, if you want to decide to make your own living at it, you can make the choices to start going that route. And the thing is, every step has consequences. Like when you're at my level, something like that binding that Trout used. What's it called?
It's called end stitch binding.
End stitch binding. Now, in order for me to get end stitch binding, I would have to have enough capital to order a print run, and I would have to gamble that I have enough traffic in order to sell that print run and make a return on my money, at least to break even. And then I would have to worry about warehousing and distribution of said product, because we all heard of the intrepid OSR author who, Trout sitting in his basement right now, and that kind of problem.
Well, and the reason why, and that's the big thing. You talk about 2,000 copies. It's because who he was dealing with, and this is the other part of the thing that people don't understand, is that a lot of times, if you're just going to go a standard case-bound book, which is just a standard hardcover book, you can go to some place like Drive-Thru RPG, or you can go to Lightning Source or whatnot and buy, 5 copies, 10 copies. It's going to be a little expensive, yes, but to get that type of binding with the foil stamping, companies require 1,500 count, 2,000 count minimums. And you got to have that type of capital. So even if you have that capital, you got to be able to move that product. And again, Venger is a very good game designer.
Yes.
He is. But let's face it, Chalt is a very niche type of game.
Yes.
And, that's it. And that's the reason why, like with us, you have to kind of step back and go, I really love, AD&D or OSR material. It's what I really love. That's me personally. But what is going to sell for my company the best? And that's why you have.
Don, though, you can make a choice, and it will still be worth your hobby time. And you may not be able to make a living, but you'll get a decent return for the time that you put in. You can stop short of trying to make it a full-time job, which is where actually I am right now. I mean,
right.
if for some reason one of my future ideas brings in 6 figures, or God forbid, Shadow Dark or Dominwood numbers, we'll revisit that. But the point is, if I keep getting 5-figure Kickstarters, I won't be able to quit my day job, but it's well worth my time, and I get
absolutely,
and I get the gratification of that I've always gotten of sharing material that people find useful, which is the main reason I like to go the extra mile. And 2, I get to do it in a better form. I can do better products with it. And if I never feel comfortable taking the gamble that you have, Dawn, I can be okay with that and still make it go. I can be like Kevin Crawford, because Kevin Crawford doesn't have employees. He doesn't have overhead. I don't know what he does with his money. He certainly puts it in his product, evidenced by, his Kickstarters for his print run.
Right.
But, he's an example of a publisher who doesn't go into hiring employees and stuff.
But see, the thing is the difference is that we manufacture our own products. At least we did until the fire. We're getting back into it with our new
Right.
shops. So, when you begin manufacturing your own products, you have to not only pay for the machines, you have to pay for the ink, you have to pay for, people don't realize the blades for the cutter alone that cuts the paper, they're $1,500 a piece.
Consumables.
Yeah, it's a blade, and you have to replace those, every couple of months. So that's the reason why we're going to start getting into POD for people. It's not going to be onesie twosie; it'll be case quantity. But you have to look at the avenues based upon your business model, what your situation is, and again, it's the whole thing with, are you going to be OSR centric? Sure, you can do that if you're operating out of your house. You got no overhead, you've got no employees. You can keep it very narrowly focused. But if you're going to have a broader operation, you have to look at 5e. I don't play 5e,
No.
but I have to develop product that is 5e because that is what the current selling flavor is, just like Shadow Dark.
I played 5e.
Mm-hmm.
I played it first because it was a hot new thing in the mid 2010s, but then because my friends, yeah, Rob, we want to play your campaign, but can we use 5e, please?
Yeah.
I said, fine. And then finally, so here, if you have a problem with D&D 5e or trying to do something because it's popular, don't force yourself to do it if it doesn't gel. Accept that you may not be able to make a living at what you do unless you make something that good in its own right, like Shadow Dark. And if you do, good for you. But don't count on it. But if you, for some reason, because of your friends or personal, have to eat the 5e dog food, and you make something that. So what I did is fine, you're going to have me run 5e. Okay, we're going to do it my way. So I have sitting on my hard drive a complete 5e handbook, player's handbook of my Majestic Fantasy stuff. Not a complete RPG. I didn't go that far, but I made all new. I went through all the classes. Said this is what I want. I'm willing to do if we're going to continue to play 5e in my Majestic Waterland and my Majestic Fantasy realm. And I said fine. And so now I got a kind of play test system. Do I let it sit there or do I publish it? I got other priorities, but you know what? I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't be surprised in 2027 or 2028, I'm going to publish a 5e player's handbook. It's not going to be my focus, but not going to represent a change. It's going to be taking advantage of work that I already do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know a lot of people in this hobby of ours. Excuse me. I'm calling it a hobby, but it's also a business for many people. And the number of people that I personally know that make a living off this full time can be counted on less than one hand. Okay? Now, why is that? Because as you've probably heard, how do you make $1 million in the gaming industry? Start with 2 million.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to get to the point where you're going to make it a full business, it requires two things. A lot of investment from you.
Capital, yeah.
Capital, and a lot of investment from you. Personal time. Skill. You're not looking at 40-hour work weeks. You're probably looking at 65 to 80.
And that's the discipline part that I talk a lot about.
Yes.
You want, you got to get a project, you got a deadline. You have to have the discipline to sit down and get that project done. Do you want to go out with the family maybe that Saturday? Sometimes you can't go out with the wife and kids.
Right.
You have to have that ability to stay home. And 40-hour work weeks, well, Eric knows this. I'm at this computer at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm at this computer at 6 a.m.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah. I haven't played a computer game in 4 weeks. Not since the second week of January. I mean, I've watched some shows on like I'm watching Knights of the Seven Kingdom, but as far as computer game, when I sit in front of the computer and I'm not spending time with Kellyanne or my kids. I gotta get my Kickstarter done, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm behind. Well, technically I am behind, but it's something, it took a while to get the art. It took a lot longer to get the art in. And I'm not blaming them. I should have figured out my logistic plan timeline a little bit better.
But let's face it, your Kickstarter did really well, and I think your Kickstarter did better than you anticipated.
Oh yeah. I was expecting 10 grand, at
Yeah.
most.
And now you're able to spend 10 grand on art alone. So
And but when it came to December, I had all the pieces, so it was crunch time for me. But it was like holiday time too, so I couldn't devote all my time. But now it's after the holiday day, and when I got on my feet after that first week of January, I realized all my hobby time got to go to this, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to like set your own limits. Like, excuse me, but listen, I enjoy doing my videos. I have a blast doing them. I've had people go to me now like, "Oh, you got to put this down into book form." No, I don't. That's the time it's going to take me to convert this to a book. Yeah, it might be nice, but it's not time that I'm going to enjoy doing. So it's going to seem a lot more like work. And right now, this channel, I take it serious, but it's fun. That's it. I enjoy it. Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you, knowing Rob enjoys getting into his projects. He gets focused.
He's got passion, you can tell.
Got passion. I know Don and the focus that he gets. And I know me. I can focus on, I can crank out 3 or 4 videos in a day if I'm focused. And it's great. And then I can like relax later on in the week. But I'm not going to be making 10 cars guide to procedural BX because it isn't. I'm happy to talk about it, and maybe I'm even happy to put up some posts on the blog. But I'm not looking to. There's 3 levels of what we're going to be talking about right now. Okay, the most serious is Don. Don does this as a full-time job. This is his career. Okay. Then you have Rob. Rob is what you would probably call a very successful hobby publisher. Okay.
So
you make a very good
AI into this, but I asked AI to evaluate my career as an RPG designer, and it said I am known as a slow but steady author who's a master craftsman sitting in his workshop, carving away at his project until they are done.
Nice.
So I guess that's my rep, and I don't know where it got it from. I tried to figure it out, but
right. But we're all doing stuff at a level that we get enjoyment out of it. So I know where my cutoff is turning this into a 40-hour-a-week project, trying to make this into videos and a book, and that's not me. I'm retired. I like to spend time with my wife, my niece.
Eric, one quick technical issue. Yeah. You're out of focus.
Come on, focus. Maybe I got to move the microphone back. Okay. I thought it was just my eyes were unfocused there for a minute.
No, you look like either that or you got something on your lens. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on while we just deal with these technical issues.
I feel like we're playing football and I just blocked him.
That's okay. Hold on. See, now
you're better. You got a better focus.
I know, but now I got to move the camera over. See?
Gotcha.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, but everybody works on a different level. For me, time with my family, time with my friends is very valuable. And I know my passion is doing the videos, doing these live streams. My wife tolerates me doing 5 or 6 live streams a week. Where am I going to get time to write without taking time away from the family? So I'm not. I'm not going to
And
do it.
that's another big thing. We got to bring the wives into this
Mhm.
because my wife is a teacher, so she's gone from 7:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon. But my wife backs me up 100%. If I tell my wife, listen, I have to I have to work. I can't be out in the living room tonight. I have to be at the computer. My wife's instant response: go ahead, do what you need to do. So having the support of my wife Tina is really a huge thing that takes that level of pressure off of me where I can do what I have to do in order to get things done.
But yet you still balance it because you don't do it for 30 days straight either.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like as an example, you have to have that. You do have to have that balance. There's days that I say, you know what, I got projects I got to get done, but you know what, my wife deserves a Saturday out with me,
Yeah.
and
Right.
we go out and have lunch and spend the day out together.
And I have a day job that I got to keep up, so
Yeah.
I'm out for, effectively 10 hours every day.
Yep.
I don't work 10 hours, but when you
Right.
count
Commuting
time,
and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. But so there's no blank slate that you can just define the whole creatives in this community with. I mean, I probably do more on this channel than I realize because I do live streams Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 Sundays. Well, thank you, Kat, for using a pan. 3 Sundays a month, plus occasional daytime, plus the daily videos. So I need to know what my limit is before I draw that wife out.
Yeah.
But
Everybody has their own level of balance.
yeah,
know.
I'm at my balance.
Yeah.
So and Rob's at his balance, Don's at his balance.
Yeah.
So what works for Don isn't necessarily going to work for Rob or work for me or vice versa.
But here, one thing I put some thought into is, okay, what would it take for me to try to do this full time? I don't have exact numbers, but I kind of got a number in mind. And so what the important thing is just to be ready, because you never know when lightning strikes. I'm sure Kelsey wasn't expecting Shadow Dark to do as well as it did.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm sure she was expecting success, but not like holy crap success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But listen. Again, the people I know that can make a full-time living off this hobby, this business, whatever you want to call RPGs and gaming, is limited.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy that I know these people because they're living that dream that we wanted at the age of like 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all wanted to be working at TSR, be a game designer, writing adventures. I'm happy how I landed. I'll take it.
So I got 3 new backers tonight.
Nice.
And, thank you guys for signing up. Make sure you check your Kickstarter message.
Probably I don't need a producer. But then they don't need a production studio, and I don't even edit my videos. Come on, if I screw up bad enough, I just start fresh.
Yep.
Okay, for me, producing is this new camera that has a drop-down camera lens, so I can look more at you and not at the side screen like this. So.
And if you guys wonder why I don't do videos like Joe and Eric and Greg, it's because, well, I've been writing my Majestic Fantasy stuff, and
there you go.
I have an idea if I get the time. I don't know if I ever be like Eric or even Joe or Greg.
Everybody has their own pace, and I've
Mm-hmm.
spoken about that. When I know my pace is a video a day. I could record 3 in a day, so I'm like get stuff out of the way. But I know I for me my pacing is I should release a video a day, and I do the live streams because I like interacting with the community.
Because right now you are.
Wow, this is weird.
Who are you calling weird?
No, I can't message one of my backers. This is a first.
Yeah, you're at 10,300 subs. So you've picked up 300 subs in just a couple weeks.
Yeah, and it's slowed down a little bit. I'm happy with it, but I'm more happy with the feedback I've been getting. And folks, if you want
Yeah.
to, when you comment on the videos, that is the fuel that feeds me. I try to read everything as soon as I can. Sometimes if I'm reading from bed, you might not get anything more than a thumbs up because I hate typing from bed on my phone. But that really is the fuel that feeds, because feedback means that you cared enough to watch and give your opinion.
Mhm.
So that's that goes for a lot of. I think that a lot of the creatives in the OSR don't get enough feedback for what they do.
Mhm.
Come on, everybody's got an internet handle. Everybody's got a Facebook, a Gmail email or something. Just let your favorite creators know that you appreciate the work they do.
Mhm.
It goes far. So, Fugly, I made a comment about they're bending a certain. But yeah, you don't want to get that. No.
You always get a 10-day notice with him first, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't always include details.
Yeah.
And
I still want my Traveler episodes.
well, I asked for details and I was told that they were in the suit. So I guess. Whatever.
Oh, bless him. Just bless his little heart.
Bless his little heart. Yes. But all right. Well, listen, we're at the 90-minute mark. It is Friday, the 13th. By the way, we never mentioned that, did we?
I will say that I took my wife to work this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and on the way to work, we got our Friday the 13th curse out of the way early. A lady come barreling out of an intersection, and we literally came within inches of T-boning her ass. Then she flipped me off. And it's
Oh,
like,
I had the
so
right of way, but yeah, go
got it
screw.
out of the way early. So that's good.
And tomorrow was Valentine's Day. Yes, we'll be doing a Gamers Health. Next week, Don, myself, Joe the lawyer, Joe Block, we're all going to be at TotalCon.
Mhm.
So there may be live streams, there may be debauchery, but they won't be your regular live streams.
Maybe we do a live stream from the bar.
I would like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would. I'll bring my iPad down. We just get random people, and it's gonna. If Fugly, it's why there's no producer. Okay, there's no producer would allow us to do what we do.
That's right.
They'd be like, I don't think that's wise.
Yes.
Sure, that's okay. But all right. Well, it's a Friday night. We're gonna wrap this up. Glenn would have joined us, but the grand things, are they grandkids? I guess the grand.
The grand things is a good name.
Okay, the grand things took Grandpa's attention. I think they took him out. So we forgive not having our weekly Glenn. Rob, thank you for joining us. I'm glad that a couple of people were
Yeah.
late back. You can't go wrong with Rob Conley quality.
Mhm.
Okay, so everybody who backed me this evening, two of you, I sent Kickstarter messages with the codes for the print copy of the at-cost codes for the print copy of Black Marsh, and the link to the beta files, or actually final release candidate files. Greg A., whoever you are on here, for some reason, Kickstarter, you're the first backer that I can't message on Kickstarter, but lucky you have an email on file, so look at your email and you should get the same information.
All right, folks. Live stream tomorrow at 8 p.m. My wife and myself. Other than that, thank you so much. God bless.
Yep. Everybody have a good night.
Yep.
Okay.